This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, and you're listening to Python's Paradise, your film and music show. And this is your host, Greg Gilbert, a.k.a. Python Hyena, and I'm joined by...
Shilo Sixx from Film Fantasy.
Absolutely, and we have a great guest today. Let's just say, if I may do a little play on words, she spent the weekend at Bernie's where she caused some mischief because she ate the apple.
Ha ha ha.
I like that.
Very good. How long did it take you to put that together?
Right on the spot. Folks, we have the absolutely talented and absolutely stunningly gorgeous Catherine Mary Stewart. Hi, Catherine.
Hi, how are you?
We're great now we're talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
too.
See, the girls here in this town won't talk to me, but I'm glad you will.
Well, that's saying something.
There you go.
He's kidding. They talk to him all the time. He's a love machine.
Oh,
Right.
I bet. Yeah, I've heard that about you.
Yeah. I work with him, so, I can vote for him on that.
Very good.
Yes, I guess to start out, you're like us. You're a Canuck. You're a Canadian. You're born in...
I am.
Yeah, you're born in Edmonton, Alberta.
Yes, Edmonton, Alberta. Happy Thanksgiving tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Catherine.
Oh, thank you.
You go celebrate our Thanksgiving too?
I don't, but we have it here, so, I'm living in New York, so I tend to celebrate the one in the U.S.
Yeah, but just think, 2 turkeys.
That's true.
Or
Thank you.
3 if
Can't
you're
get
really...
enough turkeys.
Or 3 turkeys if you're really... One in the morning, one to celebrate Canada during the day, and then one at night to celebrate the U.S.
Could do that, but boy, that would be a lot of food.
That's a lot of turkey. That's a lot of turkey.
And I'm not even that big a fan of turkey. I mean, I like it, but, once a year is plenty for me.
Yeah, I hear you. For me, it's an acquired taste.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, and trying to make turkey without it being dry is really hard.
Yes, that's very true. Dry turkey, yeah,
right?
It's hard to stomach.
But then you can have lots of gravy and mashed potatoes and smothered in that. Then it's okay. Then it's doable for me.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It is pretty much doable after that. Just mix it all up. Dry turkey, potatoes, and gravy, and then there you go, slop.
Slop, just the big old hunk of Thanksgiving slop.
That works.
Do you cook a lot?
I used to cook a lot when my kids were younger. I really love cooking, but I'm sort of an empty nester now. So my husband and I, since we live in New York, we do a lot of ordering in. Fake cooking.
Boy, your husband's a lucky man.
Yeah. Mostly we order in because if I cook, he has to clean up, and he hates cleaning up. So he encourages.
No, I meant he's a lucky man to have such a gorgeous wife.
Oh, well, that's nice. Thank you.
I'm with him.
Remind him of that.
I'm with him on the cleaning part there. Eventually, you have to say, you know what, dear? Yeah, of course. And then, you know what? And then, you just put your feet up and try to fake an excuse, and it never works.
No.
It really doesn't. And then you get to the point where you just realize, you know what? Just give up.
Yeah.
That's what it works for me. Yep.
Yeah, you gotta. You gotta. His thing is he just tries to stay out of trouble every day.
He is a smart man. I'm the exact same way.
Well,
the exact
it's your
same.
lot in life, I guess.
There you go. Yeah, I agree with that. Your husband's a smart man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he is.
So you went. You were born in Edmonton, Alberta, and then you moved to London, England. You took up dance. Is that right?
Well, I was a dancer. I started dance when I was about 12, and I took a break for a couple of years, and then started up again when I was, 14 or 15. Got heavily into jazz dance in Edmonton, and joined a company called Synergy there, and we performed professionally around, did lots of gigs. And when I graduated from high school, I thought, well, this is something I'm good at and I'm going to pursue. So I went to London, enrolled in a school called the London studio center, and it was basically a performing arts school where it was primarily dance, every kind of dance you can imagine, but also singing and acting and every kind of performing arts you can think of. So that was a really great foundation for me in terms of what was to come.
Did you ever get a little homesick?
For Edmonton?
Yeah.
Well, sure, especially now because for years I had no family there, but my brother is back in Edmonton as the CEO, director of the TELUS World of Science.
Ooh, okay.
And, I guess you guys aren't in Edmonton, so maybe you don't know what that is, but it's a big science center that he's running right now. So he's kind of a big cheese in Edmonton. And I've been up there a couple of times recently, but Edmonton's changed a lot since I lived there. But it's kind of a cool place to be now, as opposed to when I was a kid, where it was just moderately cool.
Do you know where we are here in Fredericton? Have you ever been down this way?
As a matter of fact, I did a movie in 1999 out there.
Oh, in Fredericton?
Yeah, well, in New Brunswick and Moncton and that sort of area.
Okay.
Yeah, called The Reaper with Chris Sarandon and Blas de Vrana, a very great Canadian actor. So it was kind of a murder mystery thing. Really fun.
It's funny. We were just watching Chris Sarandon last night in Fright Night.
Oh, really? In Fright Night?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's great.
Oh, he is. I think he's a very underrated actor.
Yeah, I don't know that he's underrated. I think he's highly respected, actually.
Oh,
he's
of course.
Just not, he's not Matt Damon or someone who's, in the
blockbuster world,
forefront of everything. But he's a terrific actor for sure. But most actors are kind of not as well known. They're, they sort of fill up the background of the movie, or even, give so many stories in movies their flavor. They really make the story. There's the lead guy, Tom Cruise getting blown up and doing all his stunts, and then there's the actual actors who are creating the story and making it interesting. That's my opinion.
Oh, I totally agree with that. Chris Sarandon was fantastic in Fright Night. He stole the show for that. He made the movie. And a couple years later, he did Child's Play, and he was actually my favorite character in the movie. He plays a typical cop. I don't believe you, but who's going to believe a woman who said, yeah, I'm worried about a killer doll? And then he finds out, and then the character kind of becomes another character in that story. And that's what I really liked about the movie was the doll, of course, but was Chris Sarandon. I think he's a very talented actor. And, when I say underrated, I mean he's not very well noticed.
Right. Exactly.
And that's a sin because he's a wonderful actor.
Yeah, but he works and he's highly respected, like I said. So I mean, and maybe he doesn't want to be splashed all over the magazines and things like that. It's kind of a nice existence if you can have it.
I suppose so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's interesting because we've been interviewing cult film stars on here since April, and you're actually interview number 15 for us. We've been doing all right. And Chris Sarandon was somebody I wanted to get in here for, get on the phone for the 30th anniversary for Fright Night, but no contact information, so...
Oh, is that right? He's not on Facebook or websites or anything like that?
No, and that's generally, it's either a web page or Facebook or something. I found you on Facebook, but I guess you get a web page as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you went to London, England, and you were in a movie that I have to admit I've not seen this movie, but I watched some clips from it last night in preparation for this, and I guess it was heavily criticized when it came out. But
right. It's such a bad movie that it's great.
Like The Room? Did you ever see The Room with Tommy?
Yes, I have seen The Room, and it's not that bad.
Tommy Wiseau was our first interview.
What's that?
Tommy Wiseau was our first interview.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it is.
And we've just been taking it from there. We were like, who else can we talk to? And it's just been amazing.
Tommy was quite an interesting character.
But
oh, yes, I've seen him interviewed in other things. I don't know what brought me to that movie, The Room, but for some reason I decided to watch it. Then I sort of followed up with watching interviews and things like that. It's just
you'll have to hear our interview.
Crazy, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
crazy person, but good for him, He's hanging in there, but.
It's kind of like the new Rocky Horror Picture Show. People show up and throw plastic spoons at the screen.
With The Room?
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of did that with The Apple as well. The Apple is more of the same genre as Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's a rock musical. It's supposed to be futuristic. It's supposed to take place in 1994, which when we shot it was the future. They didn't want to go too crazy future, I guess. But it's, you'll have to check it out. It's pretty crazy, outrageous. And it opened the Montreal Film Festival in, what was it, like 1980 or something like that. And literally people were just like throwing things at the screen, not for a good reason in that case.
And that's where I'm from, is Montreal.
Are you?
I am. Yeah, I am from Montreal.
Yeah, so it was pretty badly panned. And the sad thing is when Canon Films made the movie, Menachem Golan, he was a big director-producer from Israel, and he really just wanted to break into the American film market. And he thought that this was going to be his, key into the biz. And when it was panned, he was literally suicidal, was the story after the screening at the festival, because he'd put so much into it and felt like, this was the thing. And as I've discussed it's since become this cult movie. It's screened at Lincoln Center here in New York. I've been to at least 3 screenings at Lincoln Center. They had an event just looking at all of Canon films. I don't know if you know anything about this particular production company. But
I know quite a bit about them, actually. I'm just looking at it there now, and I just realized who Golan was.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you mentioned the name, and then you said Canon, and I put 2 and 2 together and thought, oh, he's the guy that made Death Wish possible. Now I know who she's talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
He made all those sequels. He made sequels to lots of stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing about what we sort of talk about a lot is the fact that he would make these movies thinking that they cater to sort of an American audience, but there's always like some sort of creative chip missing somehow. There's something about the movie that didn't quite fit, because of sort of this Israeli kind of Mediterranean mentality that's just not in sync with necessarily an American audience mentality, which, I smile when I say it, because he was so passionate about the Apple. There was so much heart and soul put into this movie as far as he was concerned, and I think that's one of the reasons that it became the cult movie that it is because you get a sense of that. It's as weird a movie as it is, it's completely unapologetic about it, and maybe that's why The Room works too, because it was made with such intention and, I don't know, love, that you sort of feel that somehow, and people, while they're laughing at it, they're loving it at the same time.
I can kind of agree with that. Like, I saw The Room Python this year, and my first initial reaction was, "What the hell am I watching?"
Yeah.
And then I kind of laughed a little bit of it, at a bit of it, but I laughed at the absurdity of the characters in the movie. Other than Johnny, I thought Johnny was, the one who kind of stood out. But I also thought, Tommy Wiseau was trying to bring something to this character. Maybe he didn't know what he was doing or something. I don't know. but I felt like he was trying to bring something to his character, and the character actually had a heart, and he was just being screwed all around him. So, I think Tommy was trying to get the point across or something there, but I just couldn't figure out exactly what it was. But the one thing I did like about the film was the character of Johnny.
Right.
And, the absurdity of him, the laugh, the oh, hi, all that.
I know. It was pretty funny.
There's something about it.
Sometimes I think a lot of these filmmakers, like Paul Verhoeven did it with Showgirls, and you get Tommy Wiseau with The Room, and even this fellow with The Apple. I think that sometimes maybe rather than feel glum about the bad reviews, maybe they should embrace it. Embrace the badness, because like Paul Verhoeven shows up at the Razzies to get his Razzie for Showgirls, and it's like some people are just kind of like, you know what, I'll take this, because they say about publicity, any publicity is good publicity.
Well, you do have to embrace it. I mean, honestly, and seriously, with The Apple, there's a huge following. It shocked and surprised me. About 10 or 12 years ago, I got this phone call out of the blue from Entertainment Magazine to interview me about what I thought of the success of the Apple so many years after its release. And I had no idea. I was like, what are you talking about? They said, oh, yeah, they're doing screenings all over the country. It's got the audience reacts like they do to the Rocky Horror Picture Show. They people dress in costumes. They repeat the dialogue as people and the songs and all that stuff. They're completely involved. And I was shocked. So my husband and I went to a midnight screening here in New York. And again, it was like the theater was full. People were totally into it. Couldn't have guessed it in a million years. That's when I first found out. And ever since, again, it's been screening. It screens all over, has this huge fan base. They did a retrospective, like I said, at Lincoln Center a couple of years ago, and Menachem and Yoram Globus, his cousin who was also the producer, showed up. They did a Q&A. I was up there with him on the Q&A. He told the story of the Apple and how he was suicidal and all this other stuff, but how he really believed in the project. They did a bunch of other screenings of his movies as well. And he was thankfully, very proud of it. And it was the first time I'd seen him for like 30 years. And I was very happy, grateful to have seen him, because he passed away about a year later. But he started me in the business. I was living in London. I happened to go to this audition because they needed dancers, and I was dancing. So I went to this audition and ended up with the lead female role in the film. So that was my first professional acting role, and it got me started in the world of show.
What was your favorite number to do in the film?
Favorite musical number?
Yeah.
Oh God, I loved it. It was so much fun for me performing these things. I don't know if there was one particular number that I loved the most. It was all just fun. I did a song, a real sort of. Do you know what the story is at all?
I read up on it, and I watched some clips from it online there last night.
Okay, yeah. So it's a story of a couple of young musicians from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, who enter a song contest, and they sing this beautiful love song. But at that time, basically the world, we don't want to go small here, the world is being run by this music producer called Boogaloo. And all his acts are in this competition as well and are expected to win because he controls people, basically. And they're heavy-duty rock and roll singers. And when these two unassuming young singers go up on stage and start singing this love song, the audience reacts really, really well to it. They love it. They miss this kind of sweet sound, and everything is measured by heartbeats. And this is a way that Boogaloo can control, who listens to his music or not, is by measuring their heartbeats. It's all going to sound kind of crazy, but he realizes that this song is making the audience react in a way that's negative for him. So what he decides to do is try to sign these artists to counter it and make them rock and roll singers. My boyfriend decides not to, and I decide to sign with him, and I become this big, massive rock and roll star. And one song that I sing in is called Speed, and I get to do this like serious dance and heavy-duty rock and roll sort of screaming song, which was really fun, except that we shot it over a couple of days, and I had to wear these thigh-high boots with 4-inch heels. And for literally 10 years, I couldn't feel my toes. Finally, feeling came back to my toes, but my toes were numb for like 10 years because of whatever the pressure was on my feet, dancing around for 2 days straight. Cut off all the nerves or something like that. But it was fun.
So, yeah, I saw you. You look good in your makeup.
Yeah, it was pretty outrageous.
It was very, very futuristic. Well, but I like the religious element to it. But the apple and the forbidden fruit.
Right. Yeah, I took a bite. I took a bite of the forbidden fruit and became a rock and roll star.
Well, film critic Rutger Hauer said of the Golden Globus Group in 1987, he was actually very fond of them. He's quote his own words here: "No other production organization in the world today, certainly not any of the 7 Hollywood majors, has taken more chance with serious marginal films than Canon."
That's true.
Yeah, and looking at Canon's films here, they did one I've actually seen called Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Boogaloo, yep.
Yeah, I think what they set out to do was very interesting. They gave people a chance.
Well, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah. And then, and also, they were very slick businessmen, There's a documentary out called Electric Boogaloo that you should watch to see, because it's hilarious. It really explains Menachem and Yoram to a T, exactly how they work, how they, just their method of making movies and who they hire and why they hire them, and it's fascinating.
I'd really like to see that. They even took a chance with Tobe Hooper, and they did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, I remember reading where Tobe Hooper was having a hard time getting that made. Mm-hmm. They gave him the chance.
Yeah,
I'd really like to see that film about them there.
Yeah.
Also,
for sure you should rent it. It's out there now.
Also, with the apple, this was an early film for Fiona Hughes as well, who was a dancer in it.
Fiona Hughes, yep. Yes. She was one of the many dancers in it. Yep. Lovely girl, and then she went on to lots of other stuff.
She was like you, did soap operas.
She did. She was in General. In fact, she might be back on General Hospital. I think I saw her recently in that. Yep. Yeah. She went on to lots of good stuff.
Yeah, well, I find, and I hate the typecast, but I find I don't watch soap operas, but I find that the women on there, they're either involved in a love triangle or they're being kidnapped. Which one was you involved in?
Oh, I was involved with love triangles. I was like a virginal nurse. I lost my virginity on Days of Our Lives.
Nice.
For real or?
Oh yeah, for real.
Oh, for real.
No. Yeah, it was really wild. You wouldn't believe it how you look. No, of course not for real. Crazy.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I never watched your character.
Character Kayla Brady was when I the character's still on the show, but I initiated it, and she was this virginal nurse who, somebody had their way with her.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I thought you were being serious.
Yeah, Days of Our Lives.
Characters here.
Days of Our Lives. I remember that show back in the day.
Yeah, it's still around.
Yeah.
And then you went on to do Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone, Rutger Hauer, and Billy D. Williams. And you know what? I know who you wasn't. You were the gorgeous girl that was in the
It's a London sales girl.
Yeah, when Rutger Hauer brought the bomb in. That was you, right?
That was me.
See, I told you I could spot a beautiful woman.
You know what? I actually liked that. I actually liked Nighthawks. I actually liked it.
I think it's a great movie.
Yeah, I do
Great movie.
too.
That was a role that, you know, I was still living in London at the time. I'd done The Apple, and I remember going to the studio and meeting Sylvester Stallone, and I think he thought I was kind of cute.
That sounds like something Stallone.
It was, yeah, it was a pretty small role, but it was fun to be on the set of a big, you know, American motion picture. It was cool.
What was
Rutger
Rutger?
Hauer scared the crap out of me. I believe he was in character the whole time. I was just like, holy shit, this guy's scary.
I can believe that. You know, if you've ever seen Hobo with a Shotgun, he fits that role to a T.
The Hobo with a Shotgun was shot down. I think it was Halifax.
Yeah, it was in Halifax. I saw the production for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he of course went on to do Blade Runner right after Nighthawks. I mean, he was one.
Rutger Hauer's a very good actor. I mean, I think he scared the shit out of me because he was in character the whole time. You allowed to say shit on your podcast?
Sure,
Oh, yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
You know, he was just in character, and he was supposed to sort of intimidate me, I think, but and he did. He helped me a lot as an actor, but that was a pretty small role.
Now, the young lady that was his sidekick in that movie I read last night, she passed away, did she not?
Who?
The woman that was his that was Howard's sidekick in the movie. He had a female sidekick.
What movie are you talking about?
Nighthawks.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know who you
I
mean.
can't
You're going to have to give me a name.
I could not pronounce her name actually.
Paris?
What's that?
Parissis?
I think that was her name.
She passed away August 18th, 1998.
Yeah, I know she was Rutger Hauer's sidekick in the movie. I know they were up in that big.
Oh yeah, I know who you're talking about now. When they're up in the train thing there, whatever.
Yeah.
And
So, what was Sylvester Stallone like?
He was exactly what you would think he'd be like.
Figured.
He's very macho, very full of himself, really. He was nice. He was very nice to me. But you know, he's exactly as he appears on camera when he's being interviewed. He's, you know,
And
nice.
Billy D. Williams in that as well.
Mm-hmm. Didn't meet him.
You did meet him?
No.
I think
I was only on the movie for one day. I met Rutger Hauer and Sylvester Stallone, and that was about it.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer. I think Rutger Hauer's an underrated actor. It's just like Chris Sarandon earlier. You know, you don't see enough of these guys anymore.
Yeah, I wonder what he's up to these days. I'm sure he's still working.
Yes. So, you went from Nighthawks, and then you had a couple of.
Are we going to go through my entire?
No, we got.
I got a list.
That literally is my second movie.
Yeah, it's your
I've got like 40 of them. Do you want to talk about Mischief?
That was the next one.
We are going to talk about Mischief, but I actually listed 4 or 5 of your films that have cult followings.
Uh-huh.
And I know that you did a couple of sci-fi films before you did Mischief. One was The Last Starfighter, and the other was Night of the Comet.
Right.
Yeah, what was your experiences like for those?
So, well, The Last Starfighter was the first movie I did in L.A. I was at that time I was actually on Days of Our Lives, and so I was shooting both. But yeah, it was a wonderful experience. That was a movie, you know, that I'm really proud of. Lance Guest, who played Alex, is still a really good friend of mine. The director Nick Castle. We've done some conventions and things together, so that's always fun to meet up with them again. that's got a big following for sure. What's nice about The Last Starfighter is that it's a very simple story about a boy who dreams of being something bigger than he is. You know, he lives in a trailer park. He just wants to go away to college and get out of the trailer park, get out of the life that he leads, and his one escape is to play this video game. Little does he know it's sort of being monitored from outer space to find really good starfighters who, because unknown to anybody on Earth, there's this war going on in the universe that could affect the Earth eventually. So he does really, really well on this game and is recruited to fight the real war in outer space. And so it's like his dream come true times a billion, you know. And I think it inspires young boys to go for their dreams and things like that. And it's a movie that the original audience is now probably in their 30s or even 40s, and they have their own families now, and they encourage their kids to watch it because it had such an impact on them as kids. And yeah, it's a lovely movie, and it's also one of the very first movies that used CGI. They were literally inventing some of these programs for the special effects while we were shooting the movie. I mean, the computer special effects that you see nowadays they stem from what was used in The Last Starfighter. When you see The Last Starfighter now, it looks like very simplistic special effects, but they really created the programs that have been, you know, built on to do all the stuff that they can do nowadays. So it was pretty neat.
It was directed by Nick Castle as well.
Yeah, Nick Castle, wonderful director.
He played Michael Myers, did he not?
Yeah, he did.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
In
he was
Halloween.
the first one.
There's I saw this probably back in 2007, and you know, I'm a musician myself. I'm a bass player, and this was one of the funnest, definitely glittery 80s films I've ever seen. Scenes from the Gold Mine.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely loved this film. You know, I found it actually my next door neighbor at the time found it by a fluke at a secondhand pawn store. And he brought it home and he loaned it to me and said, "Here, you were born in the 80s. You're going to love this movie more than I did." And I watched it, and I don't think he ever got it back. I absolutely loved the film. I cannot find this film on DVD or Blu-ray or anything like that. There's very little information, which is really sad. And I still have that VHS copy. He never did get it back.
Oh,
but
that's funny.
This was one of my favorite movies. And, you know, you worked with Alex Rocco, Jewel Shepard. This film, it just disappeared.
Yeah, that happens. Who knows what happens? They just sort of go off into the ether somewhere. But that was a really fun film, too, because one of the great things about being an actor is you get to live sort of vicariously through your roles, you know?
Of course, I noticed that.
And to be like a rock and roll singer was so much fun for me. Yeah, I mean, it was like living a fantasy, kind of.
Oh,
Really
believe
fun.
me, I absolutely loved the film. That opening sequence where you just hear the music playing and the band playing, and then you come in, and it's just absolutely amazing film. And I was hoping someday that someone out there would find a hidden gem and maybe restore it for DVD release at this time now, you know, Blu-ray release. But you know, what was it like working with Joe? I can't pronounce.
Pantoliano?
Yeah, Pantoliano.
Wonderful. Really, really nice guy.
He seems like a really intelligent actor.
Really good actor. I haven't seen him. Well, I did see him a couple of times after that, but I haven't seen him for years. Apparently he lives somewhere in New York, so I've tried to be in touch with him. I think I was in touch with him on Facebook or something like that. But yeah, really good guy. Again, another really terrific actor, character actor. You see him in a ton of stuff. Wonderful.
No.
How did you run into the role for that? There, you know, music, rock star, you know.
Well, Mark Rocco, who directed it, Alex Rocco's son, he liked my work, and he asked me if I could sing. I said, sure. And he had me sing a few things, but basically he offered it to me. He just based on my other work. Right. So that was fun.
Being a musician, it's one of my all-time favorite films, and I'd love to see it again.
Oh, thank you. That's nice to hear. Yeah, you don't hear about it very much anymore.
No, you don't. And it's disappeared. Nobody really knows what it is, and I think that's the big sin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a good cast. A really, really good cast.
Good story, good cast, and a beautiful young rock star.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Debbie D'Angelo.
Yes.
Yeah. So Night of the Comet, you worked with Mary Warrenov. What was she like?
Yeah. Yeah, she's cool. She's a cool chick. There's nothing else you can really say about Mary. She's just totally hip and totally cool. Really liked working with her. You know, she's kind of like a legend. So it was neat. I've worked with her in a couple of things. She was in Scenes from the Gold Mine too, briefly.
Yeah, she was. I actually just found online here the VHS cover art from Charter Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, there is some resemblance of the film here online, at least.
Which one?
Scenes from the Gold Mine. Yeah, there's the VHS cover art for it there, the box art, and at least, like I said, at least there's something of the film on here that gives me hope.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't tried to get it recently, so.
Well, we got two big comedies to talk about here. I just saw Mischief for the first time about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I'd never heard of it. And we'll watch movies here at the studio, project them on the wall, and we watched Mischief, and it's got its 30th anniversary. How about that, huh?
It's hard to believe, actually.
30 years.
30 years. Well, it's always hard to believe when these things reach their 30th anniversary. It's a little scary. And
everybody talks about it being Kelly Preston's big nude scene, but to me, I think you were the beautiful one in the movie.
Aw, thanks.
You're welcome.
Bunny Miller.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I was the sweet girl next door who got involved with the bad guy.
I like that.
I do too. It was fun.
Yeah, Gene.
Motorcycle. I'm still in touch with Doug McKeon and Chris Nash, who was played Gene, the bad boy.
He was my favorite character.
Yeah, he was great.
I was born in the 80s, so leather jackets and jean pants.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, that was also fun. I mean, I have to say, it's a fun industry to be in. It's hard, but it really is fun, especially after seeing it all put together. And that was, again, living vicariously through this character set in the 50s. It was, they set it all up to be very authentic 50s. Just kind of fun, sort of disappearing into these eras and characters.
Yeah, and it was directed by Mel Dembski, of course, who made Yellowbeard a couple of years before that. What was he like as a director?
Yeah, I've worked with him a couple of times. He's great. In fact, I saw him about a year ago. We went for lunch. He's a terrific director. I mean, he's done tons and tons of stuff. He's done a lot of stuff more recently in Canada. But, yeah, he's been around forever. A wonderful director. I also did a thing with him called Murder by the Book with Robert Hayes that we shot in Toronto, as a matter of fact. So that was fun. It's always fun to work multiple times with different people because you know each other. You don't have to get to know each other. You kind of go into it with this comfort level, which is always very helpful.
And Doug McKeon, of course, one thing that Shilo and I kind of laughed at as we were watching Mischief is, boy, they made him look so nerdy with that hairdo.
Well, it was the 50s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was the perfect time to get away with that, and then all of a sudden he's playing basketball on the side of the barn, and then this motorcycle riding guy with the leather jacket comes in and says, "Hey, how are you?"
Yeah.
And I love that, and the kid goes, "Hi," and immediately, you get that feeling like he's going to look up to him and bring him out of his shell.
Uh-huh.
So it was a good coming of age story, and I really like that about the film. And I love the fact that the boy is just completely green about everything, and then by the end of the film, he's he's smashing cars. I love that about the kid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. I think it's a great coming of age story. I think it was really sweet. It was originally the script was much darker. It wasn't so much of a sort of a light sex romp kind of a thing or coming of age. It was a coming of age, but there was more darkness involved with it.
Yeah, and it's interesting how the roles kind of got reversed between the two males, where McKeon ended up being the more confident one, and Nash ended up kind of losing his footing, so to speak.
Yeah, well, he's got an abusive father. He ended up running away. And I ran away with him. How romantic is that?
On the back of a motorcycle is even more romantic.
I know. Yeah. I loved it. Love it.
I actually discovered that movie from the same guy, my neighbor, when I discovered Scenes from the Gold Mine. We had discovered Scenes from the Gold Mine first, and then we watched that, and I remember he had said to me, and at the time he was in his 40s, and he said to me, "Oh, she was gorgeous. I'm going to marry her." And I thought, "You're already married." He goes, "Oh, okay. I got to find out who she is first." And I laughed and thought, "Oh, geez, you're smart. Okay." So we went into the computer, and I found Catherine Mary Stewart, and I said, and the first thing I yelled out to him was, "Dude, she's Canadian." And he goes, "Oh." And then he says, "What's the rest of her movies?" And I thought, "Well, there's a bunch of them here." And then this one movie stood out, and it was Mischief. And I said to him, she has a film here called Mischief from 1985. The poster art has her hanging, I think it's her, hanging out of a car with the...
Kelly Preston.
Yeah, and then we realized it was Kelly Preston. Kelly Preston hanging out of the car, and there's a guy on top of her, and he goes, "Let's try to find it." So I ended up finding the movie at that scene, at a friend of mine's video store. He had it, and we watched it then, and then, he developed a huge crush on you.
Oh, that's nice.
Of course, but I discovered you back in 2007.
Yeah, well, there you go. Oh,
Yeah.
2007?
Yeah.
Well, better late than never, I guess.
That's
right?
true. That's true. I'm glad I did.
Well, I was born in 1972. Shilo was born in 85, so there's a big age difference. So Shilo's an 80s boy, and I'm a 70s boy.
I prefer the 80s.
Yeah.
I got leather jackets.
Yeah, I laugh about when I was born, because a lot of X-rated movies come out the year the year I was born.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Sometimes that
Big,
scares me about them.
Throat and all that stuff.
Deep Throat, Fritz the Cat.
Mm-hmm.
But what was Kelly Preston like to work with in Mischief?
She was the sweetest thing. So very, very sweet. There's really nothing else to say. She was a lovely girl. She was married at the time to somebody else, not John Travolta. And they were just so cute together. She was pretty young. I don't know. Just a lovely girl. She was shy. She was, nervous about the scene that she had to do where she had to take her top off,
Yeah.
As was Doug. It was a little uncomfortable, but I thought they shot it very well, and it was a sweet kind of a thing. But she's a lovely woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, with coming-of-age films like that, there's a certain sense of responsibility and respect that comes with those films, and I think Mischief really achieved that in a way.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't... the nudity to it wasn't exactly exploited. It was done in kind of a sensual context, but also funny because she keeps banging his head on the headboard.
Yeah. It was cute.
It was very cute.
And effectively done 50s. I like that, too.
Yeah. It was funny. She's on him, and then all of a sudden his head keeps hitting the headboard, and he's trying to block that out. Like, it was a cute movie. I really enjoyed it. It was really cute, and it made me laugh quite a bit.
Young men and women can relate to that scene.
That's very true.
So, of course, you did, Weekend at Bernie's, which is also a big film. What was your experiences like on that?
Again, it was a lot of fun. We shot in New York, which was one of the first times I'd ever been to New York, so that was interesting. A little intro to New York. That's where, we shot the office scene and all that stuff. And that was in the 80s. New York was a very different place back then. Kind of intimidated me. And then we shot in North Carolina. It was supposed to be the Hamptons, which is on Long Island, but they built this set. They literally built the house on sand dune. There was no foundation or anything like that. Right on the sand dune that we shot in for 6 weeks or something like that. It was a nice change of pace too, because it was a real comedy that I got to be involved with. I haven't really been involved with that many comedies. Jonathan Silverman was a lovely guy. Andy McCarthy was fun, kind of crazy.
Yeah, his character's something else in that film.
Yeah.
They're absolutely corny, witty, semi-smart. Yeah, they're just dim-witted, and I think that's what I liked about the characters. I remember when I first watched it, just hanging my head thinking, oh, what can they do next?
I know.
Because Jonathan Silverman just came off of Caddyshack 2, which he has a lot of regrets doing, I think, now.
Oh, is that right?
Last I heard, I think, yeah.
Yeah. He married a woman from Canada, I think from Montreal, actually. Saw him, we did a reunion at a convention not too long ago. It was really, really fun to see everybody.
And, of course, Terry Kaiser playing Bernie. He just came off Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, where he was murdered in that by Jason. So he was already a corpse, already knew how to play a corpse by the time he got to play Bernie.
Yeah, he had some experience, did he?
Yeah, I guess
that was funny. He was so good in that. And I think that's sort of it's one of the hardest things to play when you can't say anything. You just have to sit there with some sort of bizarre expression on your face while everybody acts around you.
I will give it that. There's some serious acting going on there when you have to do something like that and pull it off the way he did.
Yeah.
But, the idea of the film is, everybody around him's dumb. Nobody seems to believe he's dead, yet they're holding him up,
right.
for most of the movie. And, I think the comedy worked to it, but yet the film is so dim-witted. I hung my head thinking, I really believe this? But yet in the end, I laughed my face off anyways.
Well, of course, it's tongue-in-cheek.
Yes.
It's suspended reality for sure.
Did it bother him not to have much dialogue in it, or did he just get into the spirit of the role?
Oh, he got into the spirit of the role for sure. I mean, he's what you remember.
Yeah.
It's Weekend at Bernie's. He's like it. So.
Yeah, they did a sequel to it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Catherine Parks was, of course, in that as well. She was also in a Friday the 13th movie, Part 3.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, she was in Part 3. She was the one that got the I don't know what thing was fired at her, got her right in the eye.
Oh, spear gun.
Yeah, spear gun. Yeah, what was she like?
She was funny. She was really, really funny. I thought she pulled off that character so well. If anything, in that movie, I think she makes me laugh the hardest. When Bernie's dead and she is suspicious of him and she's drunk, so she goes up to his bedroom and they do whatever they do, and she comes back and she's like, "It was the best ever."
I remember that.
So funny.
You know what? I'm gonna watch Weekend at Bernie's there this week all over again, just to laugh at it. The absurdity of the film is, I think, what's funny and the tongue in cheek to it. But if I remember correctly, they try to pawn it off that it was a drug use, that he overdosed or something like that. And I remember one of the characters looks at him and says, "Bernie, are you going to come out to the beach?" And then they shake the head, and you can clearly tell he's dead. And she goes, "Okay," because she's drunk.
Yeah.
You know?
Everybody, I guess, when they go out to the Hamptons on the weekend, it's a big old party. Everybody's drunk, everybody's on drugs, so nobody really notices.
Yeah, nobody remembers nothing, and nobody knows what's going on or what they're doing. They fall in the water, you're either going to come out or you're not.
Right.
Yes.
Better not to fall in the water.
That's true. Yeah, I had my experiences of falling in water drunk, and it's not fun.
So tell me, what's going on with you now? Like, what are you working on now for projects?
Well, I just finished a movie called Love on the Vines that should be out it's for television. It should be out, I don't know, in the next 6 months or so. And in fact, on Friday, I did an episode of this new series called Limitless.
Okay.
I played an FBI agent, which was really fun, opposite Mary Elizabeth Mastriantonio. Remember her?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
She's just lovely. Just what a wonderful person she is. I just adore her. And, and an actor named James McDaniel, he was in NYPD Blue, and he's done tons, and you'd recognize him immediately. So that was great. That'll be, I don't know when that'll be out, but you got to watch Limitless. Really good new series with Jake McDorman and Jennifer Carpenter. It's based on the movie Limitless with what's his name? Oh my God, I'm trying to remember the name of the guy who starred in it and is
For the movie Limitless?
Yeah.
From 2011?
Who?
For the movie Limitless from 2011?
Yeah.
Oh,
Bradley Cooper.
Oh, Bradley Cooper. Yes, thank you so much. Couldn't think of his name. Bradley Cooper. He's executive producer on the series, and he's also been on the series. Apparently, he's done a number of episodes. So yeah, Bradley Cooper. This is his show for TV, and it was really good. And based, like I said, based on the movie.
I'm actually looking forward to this too, and we're on the same page here with the right show. The title for it was Love on the Vines.
Love on the Vines is the movie that I did. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the movie. Jack Wagner's in that.
Yes, he is.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, he was great. Really nice guy too. I mean, a legend from the '80s.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh, come on, yeah. He did. That song. My favorite band is Motley Crue. They made the bass player Nicky wrote a variation on the song. What the hell was the name of that song? All I Need.
Right.
Yeah. So '80s rocker.
In the '80s, a big musician, big actor. He's still doing lots of stuff. He was engaged to Heather Locklear there for a while. But really, really nice guy. So we had fun doing that. So yeah, I've been busy, been working hard, and I directed a short film. I'd like to try to get into directing a little more. Called A Walk to Remember. That I'm still in post-production on that. I'm trying to develop stuff, trying to get into directing, and I'm working my butt off.
A Walk to Remember, as in based on the book?
No, it's that's actually, there might be a film that's called that somewhere, but it's kind of a working title at this point. We don't know for sure if we can even use that title. But that's what I've called it right now. No, it's not based on any book. It's something I wrote. It's an original screenplay.
Oh, I got to see that.
Do you have any interesting stories from any of the conventions you go to?
Oh, actually, going back to the beginning of this interview, a girl showed up. The Apple is not a movie that is sort of in the mainstream, put it that way. It's got a huge cult following, but it's kind of like an underground cult following. But I was at a convention not too long ago, and this girl came up to me in the full Speed, from the song Speed that I did, the full BB costume. My character was called BB.
Yeah.
The full BB costume from the song Speed, which was unbelievable. It was so much fun to see. I mean, she says, I'm just crazy about this movie, and I just wanted to have my picture taken with you. It was unbelievable. So that was fun. You always get surprised by the fans who come to these conventions. That they know so much about all the stuff that you've done, and are so gracious always, and so supportive, and that was a big thrill for me. This young girl who knew the character, knew the movie, made the outfit with the material, the fabric that was used in the original costume. It was great.
Yes. There's before we let you go, I wanted to ask. I would love to get an autographed picture of you. Could you tell me where I could go to do that?
Yeah, you can go to my website with CatherineMaryStewart.com. You can order photos there.
Okay.
Or email me. You can email me at info@CatherineMaryStewart.com and let me know, who you are and what you want. Also, just to plug stuff,
Sure.
I'm on Twitter at, hashtag Catherine Mary Stewart. The handle is at CMS, as in Catherine Mary Stewart, CMSALL, CMS all. Join that. I'm on Facebook at Catherine Mary Stewart, and I'm very active in all the sites, so I'd love to hear from everybody.
I'm hoping, in this day and age that, maybe Scenes from the Gold Mine could actually get a possible re-release or, I don't know, a screening somewhere so someone can see it. It's a gem. It's a gem. It's a hidden gem. And I think if, the film were to come back into the spotlight, a lot of people that were born in the 70s and the 80s that didn't see the film or don't remember it or, don't even know it exists I think it wouldn't become a major motion picture, but I think it would get the recognition it deserved back then. From watching the film, there's a great story to it. I love the characters. I love the music. And being born in the 80s, it's right there. So I'm hoping, in the near future, someone will discover it and go, oh, here's a hidden gem, and give it a proper release. And, a lot of people out there will discover this hidden gem.
Yeah, well, find out who owns it and write him a letter.
I can't even find anything on it. The film itself is quite hidden, but, there's a release date, a director, your name at the top, and then country. Like, I have no idea who owns it. If Charter Entertainment is the one that released the VHS for it, but they're defunct, so I don't even know who owns it.
Yeah, well, I can't be much help for you there, I'm afraid.
That's okay. You can only hope in the future,
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. But yeah, that was a pretty cool experience.
Did you learn to play any instruments or anything for the movie?
Well, I played a little bit of piano. I've played piano in my past, so I could fake it pretty well. I practiced and stuff like that. That was fun.
Listen, could we encourage you to do a plug for our show here today?
Sure.
Yeah, just say that state your name and say you're listening to Python's Paradise on CHSR.
Python's Paradise at what?
CHSR.
CHSR.
Yeah, in Fredericton, New Brunswick.
Fredericton. Okay.
Sure.
Ready?
We're ready.
Okay. Hey, this is Catherine Mary Stewart, and you're listening to Python's Paradise at CHSR in Fredericton, New Brunswick. Okay.
Well, Catherine, I think you're a gorgeous woman, and I'm so honored to talk to you today.
Well, thank you very much for asking me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Yes, and when this is done, by the way, you can we'll send you the link, and you can put it on your Facebook, your webpage, anywhere you want to put it.
I'll put it everywhere.
You put it everywhere.
I'll splash it across the media.
We love you, Catherine. Thank you for coming on.
All right, thanks so much.
Have yourself a good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.